And so like we're like, how is this going to happen? And we don't, and so and I don't remember I think it was Elder Johnson was my companion at the time, and so he was going to do the baptism and I was going to do the confirmation, and so he does the baptism and she is just flailing. He can't get her under the water, and and again, it was one of those things that kind of breaks my heart. I wish they kind of had the standard that they have today of like, you don't have to get them all the way underwater, dude. That's a mockery. Like you just got to get them under the water. If a hair comes up, it's fine. That's kind of what the standard is today, where before it was like, man, if you see a hair, you got to do the whole thing again. Like,
Right.
you know,
Like
and
let's say,
so,
some people were very letter of the law on some of these things. Yeah. So
yeah, and so
yeah.
she's flailing, and so I think it took him like 5 times, and finally they ended up like going forward, and I think he like pulled her down, and
Uh,
so it was kind of a traumatic experience for her. And but I remember they asked me to do the confirmation, and I was like, how am I gonna do like I said, so do you want like I'll speak and you translate, or what do you want to do? And they're like, no, why don't you learn some sign? I'm like it's like in 2 days. You want me to
wow.
learn sign language? And so, but it was really cool. I spent like literally like the next day with the signing sisters, and my companion learning sign language. And like, the biggest thing for me was I learned the alphabet because then I could spell. And they sat her down on this chair and they put a mirror up so she could see me sign as I'm signing the confirmation. And it was one of the most spiritual experiences I think I've ever had because just
Wow.
like I had to go slow. I had to really think about what I was going to say, not just to feel the spirit, but to have like an economy of words so I could communicate what I was supposed to be saying, and like half of it, like I said, I was just spelling, next word A, B, whatever. But I learned enough. I was able to do it, and it was just a remarkable experience for me to be able to have that opportunity to like really um, feel the spirit in a unique way because I had no idea what I was doing, and I was literally guided by the spirit because there was no other way to do it,
Wow.
and it was really cool. So one last thing I just gotta say because I gotta bookend this thing. So I had a baptism
Week.
my
Your first
first
week out. Yeah.
mission,
Mhm.
and like I said, if you want, we'll do a part two. But I did I didn't tell you about the pioneer trails in Iowa, and dude, it's great. Um,
We'll get you back on. We'll do a second
okay.
second episode with you.
So we did um so yeah, my last it was the Sunday, so it was literally the day before I went to the airport. I um And by the way, I also have to tell you that like I think I say I was the last year and a half or 2.5 year missionary because my mission president like gets my paperwork to be my call was from this time to this time. But remember, I went home for a little bit
Right.
and then was serving there and then went to Nebraska. And so he's like, "Why am I getting this paperwork to? Why is Elder Levitt going home?" And I was like, this is what happened, and this is why you sent me to Greenfield, President. And he's like, so he said, he's like, well, you know, I know people. Do you want to stay? I'm like, heck yeah. So he calls his cousin, President Monson, and he's like, hey, I got this missionary. Can we get a little exception and let him stay a little bit longer? So I stayed for another, I think, 4 months or
Wow, really?
yeah. So I was able to serve my entire 2 years in Nebraska.